Hey class, we are going to do module 6, lesson 8, and this is going to be super familiar. It's basically the same thing we did yesterday. The only difference is today you have to create the line plot, like you have to create the number line that goes on the bottom, which is good practice because it goes back to using fractions and creating number lines with fractions. So let's get started. All right, here we go. So we can see that we have a chart here, but on the bottom, we're measuring widths of silver maple tree leaves in inches. But on the bottom, you notice it's blank, right? So the first thing we need to do is draw a line on the bottom. This will serve as our number line. Draw it right there. And then we need to figure out the lowest and the highest numbers that we have in our chart up here, because those are going to end up serving as like the two endpoints, like the point down here and the point over here on the right. All right, let's see here. We have 5 3/4. Do we have anything lower than that? 5 3/4 again. Oh, 5 1/2. That's lower. That's our new lowest. So 5 1/2 is going to go here. 5 1/2. Okay, and then I'm going to count up by fourths, and I'm going to stop at 6 3/4. So 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 6, 6 1/4, 6 1/2, and 6 3/4. So now we have our number line made. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. Now we have our number line made. We're counting by, or we're going by quarters. So again, this 5 1/2 can be this. It's the same as 5 2/4. And this 6 1/2 is the same as 6 2/4. All right. So we have that now. Now we need to place the numbers on it. So this is a part that sort of was tricky for people yesterday. And when you have 5 3/4, you mark an X there, and then you cross it off. So every number from up here needs to get an X down on this line plot. So 6 1/2, 6 1/4, 6 1/2, 6, 6 again, 6 1/4 again, 6, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 5 1/2, 6, 6 1/4, 6 again, 6 again, with a lot of sixes, 5 3/4, 6 1/2, 6 again, 5 3/4. So I'm going through this quickly, but you can see every time there's a number up here, I'm putting an X down here for it. 5 3/4, 6, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, and 6 1/2. And so now I've accounted for, oh, did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I have 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I missed one, 6 1/4. And that's why we cross these off as we go, because I looked back up here and I noticed that I had missed one. And that allowed me to go back through and notice which one I missed and make sure that I get it in the correct spot. And so basically that's what today is. So the part I just did, where I put the X's on here using the numbers from our table, that's the same as yesterday. The new part, which really isn't all that new because we did it all of module 5, is creating the bottom, the number line. One thing that was difficult for our class yesterday was making sure that these numbers went in order. You can't just put them in a random order. They need to go 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 6, 6 1/4, 6 1/2, 6 3/4. You can't just put them in any order you'd like. They have to go in the order that they would appear on a number line, which we spent a lot of time in module 5 doing. The back side of this is going to ask you questions about what you did. So like explain the steps that you took to create a line plot. The first thing you did was make a number line where the numbers went in order, or the fractions went in order. The next thing you did is put an X each time that you had a number from the chart. You put an X to represent that on the line plot. How many more leaves were 6 inches wide than 6 1/2? That's a simple subtraction. So 6 1/2 is 4 minus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 minus 4 equals 4. All right, so that's as simple as looking back here and saying there's 8 in this column, and there's 4 in this column, so I'm finding the difference between those two things. And then the last part on here says find the 3 most frequent measurements on the line plot. What does this tell you about the typical width of a silver maple tree leaf? This is some analysis of the line plot. We're going to look and find the 3 most frequent. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's these 3 right here. Those are the 3 that happen the most often. So what that tells us about these types of leaves is that most of them are about this wide, because this is where most of the action on our line plot is happening. You could probably even expand that over here to 6.5, that they're between 5 3/4 and 6.5, because that really is where most of the stuff on our chart is happening. You'll notice that on the very ends, 6 3/4 and 5.5, that's only happened once each time. So those happen less frequently, and the stuff in the middle happens more frequently. All right, guys, the things to be able to do on this are to create the number line first, make sure it's in order, really practice all that stuff we worked on in our fraction unit. And then the next step is, as you find a number on this chart, put an X on your line plot and then cross it off of the chart to make sure that you can show that you've used it. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.